Hey YouTube, I'm finally back with another video. It's been over a week, but whatever. Let's get rid of that and start with the video. So today I'm going to be responding to this channel that I discovered recently. This channel is called The Wright Brothers, but like the right as in the direction. I don't know which way is right for you guys, but they're called The Wright Brothers, and they're pretty hardcore conservatives that are pretty bad about their politics. And he has a video on here called Everything Wrong with Liberal Feminism in 5 Minutes or Less. And I'm not a liberal, but I'm a leftist, and I don't think that conservatives know the difference. Most people don't, but I'm going to be responding to his questions, and unfortunately I have to do some guerrilla videography to make this work, but these are some dumb questions, and the answers are pretty easy to get, so let's get started with this guy.
Attention, liberal feminists. I know what you're thinking. This is a guy, so he has no business talking about feminism.
Anybody can talk about feminism, whether you're a guy or not, or a woman or not.
And y'all say we should believe all women, so that is what I demand.
Also, we know you don't actually believe that you're a woman, so we know you don't identify as one, and believe all women doesn't mean take everything that every woman says as fact at its face value. So that's dumb. Oops. Whoa. Press the wrong button. Go figure. Mess up my first video in I don't know how long.
That's how it works, right? I don't make the rules. I just play by them. Got it? Good. Because I have some questions for you. If the wage gap was real and not some made-up idea, why don't companies hire only women to save money?
Oh boy. Okay. So it's not a wage gap in the idea that you can just hire a woman, pay them less because you can just do that. It's more like people do that without it appearing that that's what they're doing. So basically women will get paid less, but people won't know about it. You know how your boss tells you, don't talk to your coworkers about how much you get paid? That's why they tell you that, because they don't want people to know that different people are getting different pay for doing the same work. When you find out that your coworker, who's a little bit more favorited by the boss, they like them a little bit more personally, gets paid a little bit more than you, even though they do the same work, that causes problems. It also causes problems between genders and races and everybody else, because there are also racial pay gaps that exist too. I don't really have any stats on that, but they exist. You can research it. But it doesn't just mean that people are going to hire women to save money. That's stupid, because you also got to remember that people prefer to hire men most of the time anyways.
Y'all talk about equality in the workplace, but according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2017, 4,761 men died in the workplace, compared to only 386 women. Guess y'all don't really mind the lack of equality there, do you?
More people dying out of one gender exists because men have more privilege to take up certain positions. Women are not taken seriously, particularly in more dangerous jobs. Women are not seen as being able to handle the stress of police and industrial jobs in factories that actually contain heavy machinery that can kill you. And that's why women don't die at work, is because they can't even get into those jobs to begin with. It's pretty simple.
On the official liberal feminist application form, are being angry, looking disheveled, and being generally unpleasant some of the top requirements?
And see, that's just ad hominems. I don't have to react to that because it's literally just like, you suck, ha. Ugh. Is it a qualification to be stupid in order to be a conservative?
How exactly does dressing up like a giant vagina affect any positive change whatsoever?
Again, an ad hominem. No response needed.
When will y'all stop voting with your genitalia and start voting with your actual brain?
I don't know how you vote with your genitalia. Unless you're talking about actual liberals. This may be one of the points that actually refers to liberals and not leftists, because there are a lot of liberals who want to vote for a female president strictly because the female is a female or woman or whichever have you. Particularly the problem there is, well, it's not about policy if you're doing that. So if you're a feminist, that means you want what's best for women, and necessarily that includes policy. So the policies that are going to do the most good for the most women is the most feminist policy. Whereas voting for a woman, regardless of policy, is not feminist, because you might vote in Sarah Palin, and she's certainly not going to help women out.
How is it okay for you to insult conservative women, but then run to the defense of any liberal woman who gets called out?
Of course, people insult people on the other side. If you hate people who have bad ideas and you consider people that are conservative to have bad ideas, it doesn't matter whether they're a man or a woman. That's actually equality, right? Of course, this person doesn't understand that they're conservative.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, even though it appears a lot of you have quite literally tried.
Ha ha ha, feminists are fat.
Why do y'all lecture us about how men are vile creatures, but then fight like hell to let trans women, biological men, compete against biological women in sports and celebrate them when they win?
Feminists never try to make the point that all men are disgusting monsters. The point is that men have a higher likelihood of doing bad things to women than women typically have of men. And that's because men have power in society. It's because of patriarchy. So when men rape more often than women, that needs to be pointed out. And considering the fact that this guy is sitting over here talking about how he's going to call people fat and everything else, I can't understand how he's going to try to bring up the idea that he's more valid when all he's doing is bringing up ad hominems. His arguments aren't actually arguments.
I see a lot of y'all are fans of dyeing your hair, refusing to shave, free bleeding, and verbally berating.
More ad hominems.
Are those protective mechanisms to try to keep single men from being interested in you?
It's literally just ad hominems.
Because if so, they're working like a charm. What store do you buy those pink hats from? The official DNC website or deranged leftists are us?
The Democrats are not leftists. They're liberals. They're centrists.
Y'all regularly ban pro-life and conservative women from being a part of your marches. So can we stop calling it the Women's March and instead call it the March of Nickels? I almost said March of Dimes, but we all know that descriptor doesn't really apply.
See, he keeps insulting appearances, but going to his actual point about the women's marches that happen, the reason that women who are supporting Trump and supporting banning abortion are not allowed in these marches, supposedly not allowed, I'd have to look that up, but even if they aren't allowed, which they probably are, the reason is because those candidates, Trump or the policies like banning abortion, are not pro-women. They are not feminists. They are not good for women. It is good for women to have abortions if they require them, and if you're trying to ban that, you're not good. It is good for Trump to not have power because he is a sexual deviant against women, specifically. He probably has hurt men sexually too in the past, but I just don't have any reason to believe so that it's likely. It's possible.
If y'all support equality, why are so many of y'all against the Second Amendment when a gun is one of the single greatest equalizers known to man?
Guns are not equalizers. Not everybody has one. Not everybody is going to carry one everywhere they go. It's possible to be a leftist and support guns, because a lot of them do, because a lot of them want revolution, and guns are a real good way to have a revolution. But even so, most liberals, yes, they don't really like guns. I particularly don't really like guns. But having an equalizer that the point of is to kill somebody isn't really what we want in terms of equality. Everybody having the same ability to kill each other, yeah, that's equal, but it's not the equality we're looking for.
Instead of marching around, why not start raising money for all the pacifiers, coloring books, and mental health counselors you'll be needing after Trump gets reelected?
I don't even get that one.
In 2019, the Washington, D.C. Feminist art exhibit featured a replica of Ivanka Trump with a vacuum and encouraged visitors to throw breadcrumbs at her. Why did I not hear any outrage from any of y'all over this?
Because Ivanka Trump is not pro-feminism. Also, leftists don't really get outraged about art because leftists tend to understand art. The point of art is to challenge people's ideas. And if you're just going to make every art another Mona Lisa ripoff, you're not really making art. But if you make something where it's like, let's make fun of a politician that's got a lot of power, that's punching up. That's a good thing, and leftists support it, because punching up is the only way to create true comedy. If you punch down, which is typically what happens with most people when they're trying to make art when they're on the right, you have these rich white people making fun of marginalized classes with their helicopter jokes, right? That's not funny. You're punching down. It's pretty simple. Punch up. That's comedy or art.
Coco Chanel, the French fashion designer, Nazi spy, and businesswoman who founded the Chanel brand, famously said, "A girl should be two things, classy and fabulous." So, strike one and strike two for y'all, am I right?
don't care about Coco Chanel or
Why do y'all run around screaming, "Don't grab me by my," to men who I promise were never interested in that in the first place?
ad hominems for calling out people for being fat or ugly, which, good job. Second, raping somebody is still bad even if they're ugly, okay? If somebody's ugly and fat, you still shouldn't rape them. Is this hard?
Do you mind holding off on writing that hateful comment? I know you're furiously typing right now.
I'm not writing a hateful comment. I'm just tearing your video apart because your brain does not function.
Wait till I'm done. Hang tight. We're halfway there. For a group that apparently loves open borders, how come I never see y'all marching and protesting for the roughly 2 and 3 Central American women who are sexually assaulted during their journey to cross the border illegally?
Feminists support all women, including those who are raped on the border. Also, getting rid of borders would get rid of a lot of the problems that happen because crossing the border is illegal. It's pretty simple. If we could just get rid of the borders that prevent people from crossing, that have no good reason to be prevented from crossing, because most of those people come here and do work and contribute to the economy, by the way. A lot of them pay taxes and don't get a tax return. When you have somebody that is working in a restaurant that makes money off of what you pay, and then they pay their taxes out of their income, they don't get a tax return like you and I do. So they make our country richer, so you should support them. But beyond that, by getting rid of the illegality of people crossing the border, it would be easier for people to cross the border in legitimate ways, which means they wouldn't have to go to these drug and gang cartels to get crossing, because the drug and gang cartels are already doing that anyways. And they figure, hey, if we're going to let these people cross, we might as well take advantage of them while we do it. So let the drug and gangs have their method of entry better controlled by making it legal for people, so that people won't have to illegally cross the border, and then people also won't have to illegally rape when they're crossing the border.
Why are you out in the streets fighting for rights you already had to begin with?
It's not about rights that are written in a book, because you can have a right that is written in a book that says all people are equal, but guess what? When the United States was formed, we had the Declaration of Independence, which, yes, it's not actually a legally binding document, but it said in the beginning, all men are created equal. But guess what? That was during slavery. So all men weren't actually created equally according to the United States government. So you can have laws written in a place that say white and black and trans and religious and non-religious are all treated equally. But that doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen. And that's what these people are marching for, is to make sure that the spirit of the law is upheld as well, which means that the people who are being trampled on by the law still get their way, so that they can be supported just as well as the people who aren't being trampled on by the law.
Is this what happens when you reach the final level of Resident Evil 2 Feminist Edition?
It's a big half-naked woman.
We recognize and celebrate him for being the first female president.
If there was actually a trans president, obviously that person would be celebrated by the left. But your idea that you can just say, oh, if Trump was trans, would you celebrate him? Yes, technically, but that would also require Trump to somehow stop hating trans people. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, so good luck.
Any of y'all planning on giving President Trump a shout out for having more top female advisors than Obama, Bush, or Clinton?
No, I don't think that's important, as I laid out earlier, because if those people are the kind of people that support policies that hurt women, then they're not actually feminist, whether or not they are themselves women. As we established, I thought you said at the beginning of your video that it shouldn't matter that you're a man, right? In order to talk about feminism? So you should understand that, but I guess not.
When can we expect you to celebrate the fact that female unemployment in America is at a 50-year low?
All unemployment is increasing right now due to the COVID panic. So I'm not really going to address that point too much. I don't have the statistics on it, and he's just kind of listing random things on his page that aren't actually stats. But let's just say that it's not thanks to Trump that the unemployment rates were as low as they were. Obama kind of loaded the economy for him before that.
Bad thing happens, blame Trump. Good thing happens, give Obama credit. That's the formula.
Liberals, Obama. I don't really give Obama credit. Obama didn't really do that much good. I don't really like him, so I blame both of them.
What if I told you the chances of a Democrat woman being elected president in 2020 are lower than chances Jeffrey Epstein actually killed himself?
Jeffrey Epstein probably killed himself. Also, yes, there's probably a very low chance that a woman is going to win the presidential election this year, which it'd be great if a woman did, but it would have to be a woman that actually supports the policies that I find to be most interesting. For instance, if you had two identical candidates and one of them was Bernie Sanders, and then you had a woman who had the exact same political positions as Bernie Sanders, I'd probably vote for the woman, just because it would be nice to have a woman president. But I need to make sure that the person's policies align with mine. That's how I feel about voting.
Did Linda Sarsour have to step down from your organization because y'all were offended and felt personally attacked when you found out that Muslims actually consider swine to be unclean?
I gotta research that one. I don't know enough about it.
Merriam-Webster defines the word ham as someone who enjoys performing and who tends to behave in an exaggerated or playful way when people are watching. So what do you call a liberal woman who loses a debate with a conservative? A smoked ham.
I mean, what do you call a conservative that is sitting here? What? I mean, I'm exaggerating too, but duh, this is just how I am. But this guy's also acting pretty extra, so I mean, if you're going to get upset and try to call, it's just, it's more ad hominems. And you see what these conservatives have to do is they have to sit here and insult people for things that don't actually matter in order to have a meaningful video.
It's my body, my choice, and no uterus, no choice. Does that mean you're excluding the opinions of women who may not have a uterus?
No, because policies that affect abortion only apply to people who can get abortions. So, if you can't have an abortion, if you're a woman or not, because men can get abortions too if they're trans, by the way. If you can't have an abortion, then you really don't need a whole lot of opinion in there. You should just find out what's correct and go with that. And the correct opinion is abortion should be legal, and you should shut up about it because it's not really your business.
When are y'all going to come clean and just admit that your brand of feminism isn't about all women, but only about those women who agree with you?
A lot of liberal feminists are that way, yes. That's why we have Alyssa Milano on Twitter recently. She's on there talking about getting rid of her Me Too tag and also talking about we need to vote for Joe Biden. So, yeah, I actually agree with conservatives on this point that, yeah, some feminists, the liberal ones, the centrist ones that are doing feminism, pop feminism to look cool, not okay.
Statistically speaking, there's a 50% chance that an unborn baby will be a female. So how can y'all say the future is female when one of your top priorities is fighting to retain the right to kill as many unborn children as you want?
The future is whatever children happen to be born, because they're going to be born if they're going to be, and they're not if they're not going to be. So this is kind of a dumb point because it's a bit of a tautology. It's like the children who are born, and the ones who aren't, and half of those will be female and half of those will be male. Various of them will be various genders. So about 50% of the future will probably be female for as long as we have the current gender spectrum that we have right now, where most of the world is either male or female, and it's typically half of that is each.
Why do you conveniently refer to unborn children as clumps of cells or parasites when you don't want them, but then hold a baby shower when you do want them?
Abortions are legal, and it's not going to change. Also, calling them clumps of cells is technically accurate because they are. I'm a clump of cells too. Does that hurt your feelings? You're a clump of cells too. Does that hurt your feelings? Also, when it comes to the murder supposedly executed during an abortion is about rights to autonomy. A woman has a right to her body more than her child does. So if she decides that the child does not have any right to take advantage of her body, that is her choice to make, and the child does not have any superseding rights there. That's it.
Why aren't any of y'all outraged that Melania has not been on a single magazine cover since she became First Lady? Y'all sure love celebrating Michelle Obama every time she was featured.
I didn't care about Michelle Obama and I don't care about Melania. I only care about the person that's actually making the decisions, which, go figure, is the husband in the relationship.
Speaking of Melania, you hate her because she's married to Donald Trump, or just because she's better looking than you?
More ad hominems, but also I don't hate Melania. I don't care. She's pretty inconsequential. The only person I care about in the White House are the people with actual jobs. So that includes Trump himself, Ivanka, Jared Kushner, which...
The American people await your response.
And I've already given mine just now. So, good job. Anyways, I just had to get a response to this guy because I've seen some of his content before, and good lord is it hard to get through because this guy literally just goes to ad hominems and just abortion constantly. Like, I don't know why he's so fixated on that. It's probably a religious thing, but whatever. But anyways, guys, these are the kind of people that we are up against right now in our fight against conservatives, and these are the kind of people that are leading them and getting attention. So please keep in mind at all times that in the fight against fascism, we are all that is left.